Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Aligned Living Circle, where we meet every week to align our mind, body, and spirit with seasonal energies. I'm really glad that you decided to come this week. I'm very excited for this week. If you can't tell, it's very springtimey here. My window is so bright that it's very dark in here. So you're just gonna have to deal with that. I'm enjoying it. And I hope y'all are getting ready for the springtime weather and you're feeling it because we are very close. So let's go ahead and check those energy check-ins. Let's go ahead and take a moment to set some intentions. So just get comfortable for a moment, just settle in. Just feel into your body for a moment, get still. And then take a deep breath all the way to the top of your head, and then release it with the biggest sigh. Make a real loud sigh, just let it go. And then sit in that release. Maybe take another deep breath and a sigh. And when you're feeling centered, take a nice long inhale, this big refreshing energy. And feel that shift, feel yourself lightening. Then give yourself a smile and slowly start to move your body just a little, kind of gentle. All right. Then let's go ahead and jump in. So this week is our last event before spring is officially here. I know we've been talking about it forever. It's been a long time coming, and I'm sure you guys have also, some of you at least, have been feeling that anticipation of spring. I'm a spring girl, not so much winter, so I can relate. So if you're here today catching us live, today is also the day of the lunar eclipse in Virgo, the full moon lunar eclipse. So we'll talk about that for a moment because it's very related to today's theme. Full moons are a time of culmination, of endings, and release. Lunar eclipses create new beginnings, especially in our internal emotional world. That lunar piece is really an internal expression, whereas solar eclipses are very external. We'll see things visually. Lunar eclipses tend to be more quiet or under the surface, and sometimes we don't realize that we've had a shift until we're in the future, and you'll look back and you're like, oh, yeah, that was a shift. So, since this eclipse is in Virgo, we're shedding, I mean, there's lots of things involved in this, but what we're focusing on today is shedding our outdated beliefs and feelings of not being good enough, the belief that we aren't ready to step into our future or who we want to be, ready to take action, releasing imposter syndrome, or the feeling that we have to be perfect to do things. Things have to be perfect in order to be done. All of those things are old, outdated, and not serving us anymore. And I think I said this earlier, it seems to have been a wild eclipse season already for many of us. And I think it's really incredible divine timing that our event is today, right on that eclipse. And I'm excited to share some tools with you to move through this season. So let's dive into our allies. Well, ally. This week, we only have one ally because she really has so much to teach us, and that is Willow. And there are a few ways how Willow really aligns with this season in time. Willows are one of the first trees to start sprouting and blooming in spring. And this time of year, you might see buds beginning to form on their branches, these little yellow buds. It's really pretty. Willow is also connected to spring through the Celtic tradition. In Celtic culture, trees weren't just plants, they weren't just this thing. They were really sacred, highly respected, and allies, spiritual allies. And this is why the Celts created the tree calendar, a system similar to the zodiac. But rather than your date of birth connecting you to the energy of a planet, in this system, you're connected to the energy of a tree. And the tree of spring is willow. The Celts also created an alphabet, okay? The Ogham. And Willow is one of the 20 letters within this alphabet. So let's explore the Ogham system for a moment to better understand this huge spiritual energy that comes with this tree. And now, while Ogham is called an alphabet, it's also more than that. Each letter stands for a sound, but they also represent um, the energy of a tree and the spiritual properties behind it. So there's a sound, a tree, and then their wider magical implications. And these symbols, they're all little symbols like a letter, and these are what we call glyphs. So let's explore glyphs for a moment. Glyphs are a symbol, essentially, that represents a deeper magical energy. And in the case of the Celts and the Ogham, it represents a sacred tree. Now, another tradition, the Nordic people have a system of glyphs. Their system is called runes. You've probably heard of them or seen them around. So each of their glyphs or runes represent a sound, a word, and ideas. And so I did go ahead and pull a rune for us today because I have a set. So we have this guy. And if you can take a peek at him, this rune is called Berkanon, and it represents the B sound, as well as the birch tree and the concepts of new beginnings and growth. And looking at this rune, right, you can see these two triangles coming off, and they look like leaves that are coming off of a branch. And this is a really great example of a glyph. And we still use glyphs in magic today. I really truly love working with glyphs and crafting my own glyphs. And this March, we're diving into glyphs and sacred symbols like runes and sigils in Modern Mystic Academy. And there's really so much to learn about these symbols and everything they can do for us. So if you'd like to explore them alongside seekers and harness their energy to create powerful change for your life, our next cycle, Sacred Symbols and Charm Weaving, begins March 22nd. If you're ready to join us, you can reach out anytime. I'd love to have you there. So going back to this rune, Berkanon, it holds significance for us this week too. It has similar themes to renewal, or to Willow, like renewal and balance and new beginnings. But it also holds this warrior spirit. Willow is a very gentle, divine feminine, easygoing, flowing energy. And Berkanon or birch is more of a fighter. It reminds us that we can move through this season with courage and strength. So focusing back on Ogham and Willow, in Ogham, Willow's glyph is Salye. And excuse me if I'm not pronouncing any of these right. I am not Celtic or Gaelic, so I don't speak Gaelic. So Salye, this glyph, this energy, it holds the energy of comfort, of harmony, serenity, poetic inspiration, and healing, as well as spiritual growth and wisdom, and honestly, so many other things. And these themes that I've mentioned are the same in many cultures. Many cultures see Willow as this same archetype. The two most common energies with Willow that we see across cultures is water and the moon. She's connected to water and the moon. And this is because willows grow best in really soggy water. If they're not planted next to a large amount of water, they're actually known for their roots getting down in your pipes in your house because it will like sniff out the water and break your pipes. So word of caution, and also incredible. And if you've joined us before, we've explored water and the moon and those energies related to emotions and flow, release, healing. And these are all really big themes for Willow this week from a fresh new lens. So Willow is this spirit, this ally that encourages us to appreciate the entire range of emotions we have. Our emotions aren't meant to be suppressed. They really need attention, they need nurturing and loving acceptance. And when we recognize our emotions and we allow them to be expressed with no shame and no attachment, we are able to heal and grow from them. And when we suppress our emotions, this is having an attachment to them. And we may think like, oh, I'm not thinking of it. It's not here. We're keeping it at bay, but we're really only holding on to them tighter, and they run under the surface subconsciously. If you've ever had something that you're really stressed about, something that's weighing on your mind, you maybe have a job thing or a school thing coming up, and you're just putting it off and putting it off, but your whole life seems to be just slightly more stressful, that's an example. And so with Willow, she teaches us that heavy emotions really are just like water. They aren't meant to stagnate, right? We have to let go of the belief that emotions are shameful or unworthy. Any emotion is shameful or unworthy. That's not true. We need to honor this, and we need to give ourselves kindness and allow all of our emotions to flow out. Her connection to the moon is another part of this message. We aren't meant to hold in our emotions, but we're not meant to get stuck in expressing them either. The moon is forever cycling, cyclical, and moving on. And this consistent flow is reflected in our emotional cycles. We feel most aligned and alive when we're letting our emotions come and be expressed and then gently leave. So Willow has always been a really sacred tree to me. It's the first plant or natural ally I developed a deep soul connection to. I can remember being my 9-year-old self and going to sit under the willow tree because it was just such a safe place to cry. And before I stepped into spirituality and magic, I really already believed that emotions are a sacred thing. And I really understand now, looking back, we are living a human experience. And one of the biggest features that distinguishes humans from everything else is our ability to feel emotions deeply and to express them. Emotions serve a sacred purpose for us. They're what makes life the most vivid and most deep experience for us. We also use emotions to connect to others who celebrate our victories with us, remind us of our greatness when we forget, who stand with us in our moments of righteous anger, and those who cry with us in the times we need it most. The power of authentic expression, of intense emotions, letting them just flow out, is really incredibly healing for both sides of the equation. One person is able to let go of what's weighing them down, release it, and feel lighter. And the other person gets to see these emotions reflected in their own life, seeing that they're not alone in those feelings and healing them in a way too, healing a part of them. And there's something about sitting with someone as they cry that really does heal a part of yourself. And it reminds us of the safety and sanctuary that we've created for the person we care about. It is a vulnerable thing to cry. Emotions are also a sacred tool of expression in the form of art. When we allow our emotions to flow out and take physical form, not only do we feel lighter, do we feel refreshed, we release them, that art also then can go out and touch others and spark emotions within them. In that way, our joys are contagious and our pain allows others to feel not so alone in their own struggle without ever having to meet that person. And when I was preparing for this event, I realized that that might be part of why I feel such a strong connection to emotions and how sacred they are. I've always been an artistic person. I've done a lot of art in my time, and the way emotions can be felt and channeled and then transformed into art, a physical form, and then that form can create change in another person. It is so clearly magic when you look at it. And Willow, besides that, has a connection to art all the way back to ancient times. In the Greek tradition, we're gonna do a little history lesson. It's gonna be fun. In the Greek tradition, Heliconion, excuse me, is the willow muse. To the ancient Greeks, muses were the source of divine inspiration for poets and musicians and artists. And the Heliconion muses get their name from Helise, whose name actually means willow. And Helise is a priestess of Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft. And they're both associated with the moon, willow, and creating powerful magic with both of those energies. Another connection here is musical instruments were created from the flexible branches of willow to call on the power of inspiration and art. We see so many stories of deities getting harps made of willow wood because it held such a sacred energy of divine inspiration. And we also see this in the Celtic tradition with the belief that in the tree calendar, those born under the sign of the willow are highly creative and intuitive, and also connected to the cycles of life, which is an important part of channeling those emotions into art. Another facet of willow we see across many cultures is its healing ability. And this is for good reason. The bark, one of my favorite facts, the bark of white willow specifically, the strongest, was traditionally used for pain relief. It was well known that you can chew on the bark of this tree and you'll quickly start to feel the pain relief, your body easing into this. And the bark of white willow, it's because it contains a powerful compound. It reduces inflammation and soreness and all of these achy pains. And this was so well known that it became the first synthetic drug, and we still use it today. It's called aspirin. So, from a magical lens, we know that this means willow is an ally here to heal and lift our spirits. The wood of this tree is also probably one of the most flexible, and it's been used for things such as basket weaving. Wicker is often made from willow, and it's also strong enough not to break, even when you hit it, as it's bent into these incredible positions, just outrageously bent, and they don't even shatter, they don't crack a bit. And this is teaching us that we can also hold up to incredible pressures of life on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level while staying flexible and in flow. And that's the key. We need to stay open to the changes of life and to flow. Sometimes the best way to move through difficulty is to surrender to the process and to channel ourselves, channel our emotions through it to remain strong. So, in a quick summary, Willow's here this week to teach us to allow ourselves to release all of our emotions, even the ones that feel shameful, to let emotions flow with our cycles and not stagnate. She's teaching us that emotions are a sacred tool of connection, and also that our feelings made physical is an act of magic that heals us and the world. So that leads us to our tools for this week. This week, Willow is guiding us to process and release emotions in 3 ways. I have 3 methods for you, through nature, through movement, and through creation. Big surprise there. So 1, nature. This is your challenge this week. Take time sometime this week, do it more than once if you can, but take time to just step out into nature. Your challenge this week, stepping out into nature. I've really enjoyed sitting outside on my deck and having my morning tea when it's still warm enough, but not super hot. I really love that energy. It's a great way to start your day. So go have your morning tea or coffee. Stand outside on your lawn if you have to. Um, Go for a walk somewhere that feels peaceful to you. And like I said, even just standing outside for a few minutes and taking intentional breaths, these are all really powerful ways to realign and to release emotion. So when you're in this nature process, as you're processing, as you're moving through it intentionally, take calming breaths, like really take intentional, slow breaths. And as you do, visualize all of the heaviness leaving your body and going down into the earth. The earth is naturally neutralizing. She receives that energy, transmutes it, and turns it into positive energy that fuels our planet. So, very great tool there. Tool number 2 is movement. So, our focus this week is the aspect of body, and movement is a really powerful way to process emotions. So, some suggestions, you can do whatever you want, but some suggestions for you are exercise of any form. Yoga is great, Qigong is great, or somatic practices like tapping or shaking or any kind of somatic practice you like. But here in this body aspect, this movement, the number one tool Willow is guiding us to is dance, specifically ecstatic dance. So if you're not familiar with ecstatic dance, it is essentially moving your body to music without choreography or a plan, just moving in ways that feel good to your body in the moment. And I know it can feel strange to just dance alone, like nobody's watching, but doing it intuitively, trusting your body, listening to your body, and really focusing on the energy that you're releasing that's flowing out of you this is a really powerful way to process suppressed emotions, especially ones that have been stored for a very long time. They store in the body. So moving that intentionally does help to dislodge and release those. So this week, find some time to step away, close the door, and put on some music that makes you just want to move. And then you dance. And those are the only rules, right? The rest is up to you. And then our third tool is creation. And so specifically healing through creation, right? This season, this spring, this lunar eclipse, all of it is about our healing, our growth. So another tool for you this week is to take time to just journal out your thoughts. And if you're feeling ready, create a poem or a heartfelt written statement of your feelings, just something that really expresses the core essence of what you are feeling. Sketch a picture, color in a coloring book, just scribble some colors onto a page. Just find a way to channel your feelings into physical form. It doesn't have to look a certain way. No one ever has to see or read what you create. No one ever has to know. The point isn't to create something to be seen. It's to create something that makes you feel seen. And that's art, right? When you are embodying the artist archetype, in my opinion, right? I'm not the only person, but my opinion, you're creating something that is for you to express your inner world, your inner thoughts. It's not to create something for others to see. It's to create something that makes you feel seen. So this week, just put your heart on a page. And if it's something that something else comes from, then great. But if that's not the purpose, right? This is for your healing alone. So take time to create. And those are our tools this week. So thank you guys so much.